75 days. That's how long Nancy Guthrie's family said she was alive in Mexico. She wasn't. She was already dead the night she disappeared. And before this video ends, you're going to see how the FBI ended the entire cover-up with a single $152 transaction. You're also going to learn how a pacemaker became the most important witness in a murder case. Nancy Guthrie was 72 years old. She lived in a quiet home in the Catalina foothills above Tucson, Arizona. One night, she vanished. No body, no crime scene, no witnesses. She disappeared in her pajamas without the crucial medication she needed to stay alive. Then the letters started arriving. TMZ received them first. Local TV stations in Tucson got them next. The letters claimed Nancy was alive and well, hiding in the Sonora Desert across the Mexican border. It was a lie designed to create jurisdictional confusion and buy time. Her family cooperated with every investigation. Her daughter Annie gave interviews. Her son-in-law Tommaso appeared concerned, helpful, present. They looked like a grieving family desperate for answers. But 75 days later, the FBI stopped looking at the physical evidence and started looking at the data. Your phone logs your location, your heart logs your death, and your money, even cryptocurrency, leaves a permanent trail you cannot erase. Nancy Guthrie's killers knew this world existed. They just thought they were smarter than it. If this is your first time on Crimixia TV, we break down cases through forensic data, not speculation. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. They were wrong by exactly $152, and that mistake cost them everything. Guthrie restriction 3 layers of data. The FBI didn't solve this case with witnesses or confessions. They solved it with 3 independent data streams that converged on the same 41-minute window. Physical evidence, biological evidence, digital evidence. Let me show you how. Layer 1 is physical. At 1:44 a.m. on the night Nancy disappeared, Tommaso Sainz's phone pinged a cell tower. GPS triangulation placed him within range of Nancy's home. Not across town, not in another state, right there. He claimed he was somewhere else that night. The tower said otherwise. 3 minutes later, something far more disturbing began. Layer 2 is biological. Nancy Guthrie had a pacemaker. Most people think of a pacemaker as a medical device that keeps your heart beating on rhythm. It is, but it's also a recorder. It logs every heartbeat, every spike, every irregularity, and every deviation from baseline with timestamps attached. At 1:47 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker registered the beginning of a physiological distress event. Not a normal sleep irregularity, not a midnight bathroom trip. A sustained escalating biological response consistent with extreme physical struggle and acute stress. Pause. For 41 minutes, that device recorded what was happening to Nancy Guthrie in real time. Let that number sit for a moment. 41 minutes. This wasn't quick. This wasn't decisive. The data shows duration. The data shows a prolonged explosion of adrenaline, cortisol, trauma response, all of it captured in the silicon memory of a device that was never supposed to be evidence. At 2:28 a.m., the pacemaker flatlined. Signal termination. Nancy Guthrie's final log entry. From 1:47 to 2:28. Her own chest was writing a forensic document that no one in that house could erase, destroy, or explain away. You can wipe a phone, you can burn a letter, you cannot delete the data inside a human chest. Layer 3 is digital. The ransom note sent to TMZ contained a Bitcoin wallet address, 34 characters. A string of code that on the surface represents total anonymity. But a Bitcoin wallet is supposed to be anonymous. So how did the FBI turn that into a name, an address, and an arrest? How to trace the untraceable? Most people think cryptocurrency is untraceable. It's not. The blockchain is permanent, public, and immutable. Every transaction that has ever occurred is written into a distributed ledger that cannot be altered, cannot be selectively deleted, and cannot be hidden. You can create a wallet without a name. But the moment that wallet touches a regulated exchange, anonymity converts into identity. Here's how the FBI cracked it. They executed a forensic technique called a dusting attack. They sent $152 to the ransom wallet. This wasn't payment. This wasn't negotiation. This was forensic bait. When you inject a small traceable amount into a wallet, it forces movement in the ledger. That movement reveals which other wallets it's connected to. You map the network surrounding that wallet like sonar mapping the ocean floor. The $152 moved. The blockchain recorded where it went. And where it went led investigators to a centralized cryptocurrency exchange. That exchange required full KYC verification, Know Your Customer compliance, government-issued ID address, verified identity submitted at account creation, Right off the exchange had Tommaso Sainz's name on file. The immutable ledger had his identity attached to it before the FBI even made an arrest. Let me break down what the FBI now had. 1. A GPS ping at 1:44 a.m. placing Tommaso at Nancy's house. 2. A pacemaker recording starting at 1:47 a.m. showing Nancy in extreme distress. 3. A flatline at 2:28 a.m. marking the exact moment her heart stopped. 4. A Bitcoin wallet address in a ransom note. 5. A $152 dusting transaction that traced that wallet directly to Tommaso's verified identity. 3 independent data streams. 0 ability to coordinate a cover story across all 3 simultaneously. The GPS doesn't know about the pacemaker. The pacemaker doesn't know about the blockchain, but they all point to the same person, the same location, the same window of time. They thought cryptocurrency would hide them. Yeah, instead it became the most honest witness in the entire case. $152. That's what anonymity cost. And here's the part that still gets me. The FBI didn't crack the blockchain. They just forced it to tell the truth. The inside betrayal, Tommaso Sainz didn't act alone. And the person who made this murder possible wasn't a stranger. It was Nancy's own daughter. Annie Guthrie provided everything. Security codes, floor plans, Nancy's medical schedule, nurse shift times, which doors were alarmed and which weren't. This wasn't a break-in. This was a tactical briefing from a daughter to her mother's killers. Why would a daughter do that? Money. Annie and Tommaso had been embezzling from Nancy for years. Multi-million-dollar shadow loans, fraudulent transfers, financial structures built entirely on trust, and Nancy discovered it. She had become what investigators call a terminal witness, someone whose continued existence threatens the entire operation. Not a mother, not a human being, a liability with a discovery date. To protect the money, they made the decision. To protect themselves, they wrote the letters to TMZ and pointed investigators toward Mexico. The 75 days weren't confusion. They were a countdown. Every day Nancy stayed missing in Mexico was another day the financial trail went cold. But the data never stops recording. 1:44 a.m., Tommaso's phone places him at the scene. 1:47 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker starts recording her fight for life. 2:28 a.m., her heart stops. 75 days later, $152 ends the lie. 3 data streams, 0 alibis. If you want to see how forensic data solved another case everyone thought was unsolvable, that breakdown is already up on the channel. A daughter who handed over a tactical dossier on her own mother. I still can't process that. What the data can't record the data solved the case, but it can't tell us what Nancy was thinking. It can't tell us if she knew it was her daughter who let them in. It can't tell us what she said, if she begged, if she understood why. The pacemaker recorded a biological crisis. It didn't record her terror, her confusion, her betrayal. Nancy Guthrie was a mother, a woman who trusted her family, someone whose final moments were spent fighting for 41 minutes. The data points tell us what happened to her body. They don't tell us what happened to her heart in the other sense, the human sense. Nancy Guthrie's killers thought they could make her disappear in the information age. They forgot that the information age doesn't allow disappearances, it only allows delays. 3 data streams, 0 alibis, and $152 that ended a 75-day lie. The blockchain remembers, the pacemaker recorded, and Nancy Guthrie's body told the truth her family tried to bury. 41 minutes. That's how long Nancy fought. I keep coming back to that number. This is Crimixia TV. We find the cases where the data tells the story the witnesses won't. If that's the kind of true crime you want, subscribe. More cases are already in production.